This is Overeducated and Underemployed. I'm here with Therese Whichello. We've already been giggling a little bit, catching up. We know each other, but not super well.
That's the best part.
So you're going to get to know both of us a little bit better here on this episode. Therese is a musician, a songwriter, a music teacher, but someone who I have found to be incredibly knowledgeable about the way that music is structured and the way that it works. You're someone who demonstrates that to people in a literal way and not through their songs.
Thank you.
Therese, what's the first song you remember loving as a child?
My dad was a jazz musician from England, and one of his favorite things to listen to was classical voice, was like opera and jazz vocalists as well, but more so like really classical voice. And I think that shaped me as a kid, because the first song I can ever remember really loving is a weird one. It's so strange. It's called In True Tea, from an opera called Carmina Burana by a guy named Carl Orff, the guy that did the Orff instruments. The Orff dude. And
do you remember how old you were when you first, maybe not heard it, but realized what you were listening to?
Definitely. I was 8. And my mother had gotten really sick, just like a typical sickness, nothing insane, but for a long time. It lasted a while, and I can remember wanting to make her feel better. And so I had spent the weekend at my father's house, and I listened to Intrutina. And I sang it for her at her, I guess it was her bedside. And she couldn't believe that she was hearing me sing opera. That was the big thing, was she was like, how did you learn this? How did this happen? And I told her that it was my dad. It was Dad. And he had taught me this opera and had taught me about how this opera worked. And Intrutina just stuck with me. And so I sang it, and I sang it to her. She was like, what is this? What the heck is that?
So not only were you inquisitive about it, but you made somebody else inquisitive about it immediately.
Yes, totally. Yes. And she said, what is this? And it was all my dad's influence. It was him listening to operas and listening to the arts program, as he would say. It was on PBS, the arts program.
I'm looking for my Sigmund Freud action figure, but tell me about your father.
He was a British musician from Portsmouth, England, and he was an amazing human being for us. He met my mother on a cruise in Miami, and he was playing the saxophone, the jazz saxophone, and she was on the cruise, and I guess it was just fate after that. They met each other.
I just handed her the Sigmund Freud action figure for context.
Oh, God, that's great.
He's holding a cigar, and she just noticed.
My God, it's perfect. Oh, my God, it's so perfect. It looks like my dad,
I think
too.
I'm going to start, I think I'm just going to carry this in my sound bag from now on, and whenever I start to ask about people's parents, just hand them the Sigmund Freud action figure.
It's perfect.
It's an actual, like, his arms move.
No,
you
oh my
make
God.
him smoke
What?
the cigar. It's not just a stat. It's an action figure.
His elbow is moving to smoke the cigar.
Yeah. I think his wrist moves.
I'm sorry, but weirdly, he looks like my father. I'm not kidding.
I was asking you a serious question and handing you something ridiculous at the same time. And that's not exactly fair.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. So your dad was a jazz musician.
Yes.
From Portsmouth.
Yes. And he came to live in America. He
also a wonderful human being, I believe you said.
Just an amazing human being, really.
And I think that's
awesome
important to note,
being.
because a lot of artists come from people who aren't necessarily amazing human beings, and that can cause some of the turmoil that drives that, like, artistic fire or something.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with you.
Yeah. No, he started everything. He was the beginning of my entire musical love. He started me on the piano, and I could smack the keyboard at his house, and it was really fun and games with him. And when I would visit him, it would be a typical time would be him putting on music and asking me how I felt. What does this piece make you feel? That's pretty awesome when I think about it.
Do you remember the first time he did that? Or what's the first time you remember him doing that, I guess is a better way to phrase that question.
Yeah. It was, I think it was the Four Seasons. Vivaldi's Four Seasons. I'm pretty sure. Either that or it was another Carmina Burana excerpt. But I remember the Four Seasons and him not telling me the title of the piece, but playing all four seasons for me. And at one point, I matched up with the name of the season. I was like, this feels like spring and springtime and flowers and birds. And he was like, whoa, you're right. It's wow. It's springtime by Vivaldi. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So when was the first time you remember getting into music that your family didn't turn you on to?
What it was the first musical that I was in, which was Cinderella, the Rodgers and Hammerstein. They cast me as Cinderella, and it was in like a joint school where they had all of the grades, but they were a little separated in different parts of the building. And I was the only sixth grader that was asked to do the high school musical. And then she said, you know what, I really...
you were the lead.
Yeah, they said, I think you should be Cinderella. And I was like, wow, okay, let me do that. And I just remember falling in love with musicals. I was in Into the Woods after that.
That's probably my favorite.
I love that one so much. Into the Woods. And
my chorus teacher, I remember one day, I don't know what was going on with her, but we could tell she was
I don't know what was happening with her.
Because like I knew her. I knew her a little bit, and she wasn't like a party lady or anything like that, but she had a day where she did not give a shit.
Yeah.
I think the Friday was gonna have a sub, but the class it was too short to watch Into the Woods in one day, and she was on her way on vacation on Thursday.
Like,
so she's like, all right, we're gonna watch Into the Woods. And I'm in sixth grade, and like the original with Bernadette Peters, like the amazing one, not the bastardization that Disney did. But it's probably been my favorite musical ever since. It's so familiar yet like dark and twisted.
Yeah,
and
weirdly dark.
And it was in a lot of ways. It's just the source material, but it was my first introduction to like that. Grimm's Brothers versions of the fairy tales.
Totally.
So
totally.
There's just so much going on. And like they have a children's production of it that they just don't have the second act. It's only the first act. Everybody dies in the second act. Spoiler. If you haven't seen Into the Woods, then I don't give a shit that I just spoiled it for you. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's your problem.
And it's time to leave the woods.
Maybe I'll put you.
That's very accurate.
I think you've told me who you played in Into the Woods.
The Baker's Wife. Yeah. The Baker's Wife.
She's got a couple of the best songs in the whole show.
I can remember what is that song called? Nothing is no one is alone truly. Oh, that song is timeless. It's good for so many occasions.
I just got chills.
I love that song.
It's
hard to see the light now. Oh, love that song. Love that song. Yeah, that was a great time and a great piece to be able to sing.
So, when you started relating to like the lyrics of songs, was it through
toddlerhood?
Musicals? Oh, okay. It wasn't through musicals then. It was like immediately, like when you. So you always listen to the lyrics. Like the lyrics were always important to you, that you can remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
I felt, yes, because I felt like if they had lyrics, if it was an instrumental piece, fine. But if it had lyrics, absolutely. I had to relate.
Like foreign music where you couldn't they were singing, but
yes.
And it's just like another instrument.
It absolutely, you know? Because you don't know. Exactly. Yeah,
There's a Swedish band called Dunyan that I really love, and I have no idea what the fuck they sing about at all. I've seen them live twice, or maybe 3 times. I have no idea what the fuck they're saying. In part, it's not like I can't find out.
Funny.
But that's kind of part of the beauty of it.
Hey, you get to enjoy it the way your
By the
ears
way, when you did know what they were saying, what is that? Is that like how you found parts of yourself growing up? Like when you have a character to identify with instead of just a song or lyrics. And I'm assuming that you have that connection to songs in both worlds.
Definitely. Yeah.
What do you think like the main difference is though when you're connecting to like a character and like all of their songs in a musical?
Yeah.
And I'm sure sometimes it's just parts of that.
For me, because of the age that I was doing all this theater, I was like 12 to 19, like that chunk of my life. So I related so hard to pretty much I found connection in pretty much every character. It was like a release for me.
Do you think it was necessary for you to perform it well?
Definitely. Absolutely. I felt
you had to find yourself in those
absolutely. It was such a natural thing for me to get lost in those characters, for me to get lost in their music and in them.
Where's this Freud action figure? No. Okay. So how did you relate to Cinderella?
Are you asking Freud or me?
No, I'm asking you, but I want you to...
Who are you asking?
When I get psychological and Freudian here, tell me about your mother. Tell me about your evil stepmother. No, and in all honesty though, but like when the first time you performed a character, how did you connect to them? And you can talk about in what ways it was real and what ways it wasn't.
No,
or you want,
yeah.
Or don't want.
It was definitely it was Cinderella. I was really young. Didn't really know exactly who I was at the time. I think then for the first one, it was me relating to feeling inferior. Like relating to I'm the younger sister. I have an older sister, and just being able to release, I don't know, it feels like a release on stage. It feels like I don't know why.
It feels like a release in the audience sometimes too.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I think that's why I've seen my favorite band as many times as I've seen them is because and it's different in a musical. Like it would be a faux pas to sing along at a musical.
Sure. It's an amazing.
Although maybe not at like American Utopia, but maybe that's okay. When he plays "Burning Down the House," maybe everybody's allowed to sing along. But typically, even when I saw like American Idiot, it would have been weird if I started singing along.
Definitely.
You know? Whereas like a concert, you know the words, like the band gets into it.
Yeah.
How do you think, as an audience member of musicals, the experience is different for you?
Oh my gosh. It's completely different. It's totally different. When I'm on stage, I am that person. I am their lyrics. I am their words. I am their everything. I'm their movements. I'm their costume. I'm their voice. I am them. And it's like I guess it's like a weird positive disassociation. You are now this human being for the next 2.5 hours. Yeah, in a way, it's like, okay,
But you're not like a method actor. Like you don't pretend to be Cinderella for 6 months.
No, not at all. Not at all. It just, I don't know. You get into that character and it is a momentary total difference from whatever your life is, good or bad.
So when you approach the concerts that you put together, which are very much, it's almost like a concept show in the way that like a concept album would be a concept album, right? You put together but do you view it different than like a musical performance? Or do you almost feel like I'm going to be this person that I've maybe created, but I'm going to be that person for a couple hours that performs these songs. I'm going to take people on a timepiece.
Depends on the show. If I'm doing that, I do a jazz time machine show twice a year. And there's one coming up in September. It's that for me is a character that I like.
Are tickets available for that yet?
Tomorrow they will be.
I'll have the link in the description.
Perfect. Yeah, it's honestly one of the best things I've ever done. It's so much fun. The whole room is decorated in antiques from the 30s and 40s, and my hair is done in that style. I have a dress from the vintage store, the local vintage store.
Avant-garde.
Yeah. It's so much fun, and it's some of my favorite. It goes back to my father. It's some of my favorite music. Weirdly, at 37, is like 30s and 40s jazz, and
No, I mean I love that stuff.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, no, I especially like big band and swing.
Yes.
And I like to say that I listen to Ella when I'm happy and Etta when I'm sad.
Yeah. It's a perfect description.
And I don't think I came up with it. I don't remember
that's
where
perfect.
it's from, but
Ella was one of my first vocal loves.
yeah.
Yep, had a big poster of Ella, Louis Armstrong, and Dizzy Gillespie in my room as a kid.
And Cannonball is
Yeah.
So you started playing piano really young.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't want to say put on you because it sounds like you enjoyed it very young, but your dad was like, you should play piano.
He always had instruments around. So one of the normal activities when you would go to Dad's house was tinkering on the piano. And he would that's the best part. He would allow different sounds to be made and kid shit to happen and he's a really versed musician.
But he wasn't coming in and being like,
Exactly. He was really open
like
about
the parents from Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that's it. He was so open about it that it made me feel like I really wanted to explore about it. So I would often just tinkle on his keyboard.
What do you think drew you to the piano before any other instrument? Was it just that freedom? Or do you think there's more to it than that?
I think really the first thing I was drawn to was the voice. The first thing I ever really felt so comfortable in, felt like I could communicate with very clearly was music. And for me,
almost like it was your love language.
Yes, that's it. It is.
You're not the first person I've talked to say that.
That is the way I have communicated and felt for years, ever since I was a really young child, was that music could say the things that maybe I couldn't quite articulate. Yeah.
Or maybe even were like a little bit scared to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
So did you find yourself like being way more courageous when you were playing a role than when you were just you?
That's a great question.
It just popped
It's a
in my
great
head.
question. So I am really comfortable in who I am now. I'm 37. I have been through quite a bit, and it has shaped me. Thank God I think it shaped me in this way to where I really know who I am. I know my boundaries. I know what I want and what I don't. I know what I'm going after and what I'm not.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I do know. I feel like I'm in the same place. Yeah, for the first time maybe ever.
I completely understand that, because playing theater roles was like a comfort blanket for me. It would be me.
It was like your mask. And I say that as like a neurodivergent person.
I understand completely. Yes, fellow. Yes, it allowed me. It allowed me to be weirdly completely myself, but I wasn't myself. I was somebody else.
Yeah.
So I was completely them, and everybody loved it. Everybody was like, "Wow, you are."
But almost gone, because like
all
6
risk
months
is
later,
gone.
The role is over.
Yes.
You can be somebody else if you want.
Yeah. And when I think about it, I think in a certain way, maybe it hindered me really finding the core of who I am a little earlier, because it was me using those characters as a lot of different things.
Well, when did you start writing your own songs? And we can talk about like the events leading up to it in a minute, but just maybe timeline wise.
My first song I ever wrote was in 2002. I think maybe I had wrote a few little melodies as a kid, possibly, but the first complete lyric melody done.
Did you write poetry as a kid or anything
Yeah,
like that?
I did. I did. I
Okay.
wrote a lot of poetry. Yep. I loved expressing myself.
Do you think there's a difference between a poem and a song, other than the fact that it's set in music?
Awesome question.
I don't even
Not
know.
so much.
Yeah.
To be very honest with you, if you smush your brain a little bit and just think of the two at the same time, there are so many crossovers. In fact, when I'm teaching, a lot of the things about like marking sections are the same as marking out poetic phrases. Sections will be like A, B, C, B, A, B for a poem. It's the same thing in music. It's you find the section of the music, and where it seems like it's totally changing is a new section. To be honest, no. But what's funny is writing things down is different for me than saying things.
You ever use like dictation software or anything like that?
No. That's my enemy. Because writing things down, I don't know, it helps me so much to have time to write it and then to let it sit and then to go back to it I don't know why sometimes words just, and maybe that's my neurodivergent self. Sometimes I lose my words, especially in like highly emotional situations.
Sure, yeah.
It is hard for me to separate thinking of what words to say versus the feelings that I'm feeling.
I totally relate. to
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
It's hard sometimes.
Communicating our feelings as like neurodivergent people is like one of the main things that we struggle with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is why I think so many neurodivergent people, like David Byrne is neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Or at least like everybody's pretty sure. I don't know that I'm almost positive he's like openly said it, but nobody's really?
I think they're also neurodivergency. There's such a freaking spectrum.
But if you look at like
My
him,
God.
20 years, like if you watch Stop Making Sense, he barely talks to the audience at all.
There you go.
He sings his ass off, but he barely talks.
There's such a spectrum to begin with, and then there's such a learning curve, such a thing that
Which is why when you watch American Utopia, he talks to the audience a lot more, which is 25 years, 30 years later. You started writing songs much later, but you were writing poetry the whole time. How many of your poems have you turned into songs over the years? Any?
Actually, no. Now that I think about it, no, none of them. I don't even know where they are. Those first poems, they're pretty good too. But in the move, like I'm from upstate New York originally. Rochester. Yeah. So being from there and coming here is a big difference. You lose a lot of things too, but it's big difference. Big, massive, especially in the teaching. I can remember I just had a lesson with someone and I was talking about this. The way you shape vowels from the top part of the country to the bottom part of the country is so vastly different. And that's a huge part of what I do and what I teach is to become aware of the way you're saying your vowels. Mm-hmm. Not that I want to change who you are and how you speak, but when you sing, shaping them.
Especially in a group.
Yeah, especially so in a group. Yep, especially. But
we should mention Therese is a choir director as well as a music teacher.
I am.
There's a lot of different facets in which you might sing a different way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the shaping of those vowels, that a, e, o, u thing, is so pivotal in teaching voice. And when I moved from upstate to Florida, it was such a stark difference.
Was it like
between
culture
the
shock
two?
to you? I mean, maybe
a little
that.
bit. Yes, a little bit. Yes, it was.
What are some of the things that like stand out to you?
Oh my gosh. My best friend, I have a few great friends, but my best friend right now, her name is Patrice. I taught her voice and her accent. She's from Panama City. She grew up in Panama City. The way that she shaped, and I will never forget it was the word oil.
Oral.
To this day, it's an ongoing joke for us because we were on it for 30 minutes it was so funny for the both of us. We're both laughing our butts off because she was trying to shape it the way I was. And it was just such a funny shaping moment for the both of us. I realized a lot about, do you know about diphthongs?
Yeah,
You heard about,
I do, yeah.
The idea of making it into two sounds is so different. It's the idea that when you're supposed to have one vowel sound, it's made into two. So
A lot of times you'll find this over like a whole note or two half notes in choral music. And things like that.
absolutely. So for me, a big word was out. Where I was from, just the word out was one syllable, one idea, one thing, and you would say out, out. And then when I moved down here, it was out. It was like 3 sounds. And I was like, out. I was like, wow, that's like 3 different sounds. And I'm only doing one. So it showed me when I first moved here that the way we, even daily, the way we speak, the way we use vowels and use language, it shapes the way we sing so much. It's crazy. And it's so different from the top of the country to the bottom. It's so different.
You mentioned that at first playing these roles helped you find yourself.
Yeah,
And then maybe it started to hinder it.
definitely.
Where do you think that line was for you?
I think for me, it was my age. It was when I needed to really discover who I was and how I was going to survive and how I was going to live in the world as me. That came at just the right time when I was stopping theater. It was dwindling and other things took over. So
When did you stop doing theater and move more into learning? Was it when you went to college? Or?
Yeah. I
And when
was
you
about
moved here-
19, 20. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
After NYU, I spent 1.5 years at NYU, and then I moved down here after my dad passed. And I'm honestly really grateful for the difference that I experienced because it's so different, and in good and bad ways. It's just so different. So many things are new, and in the beginning, it was amazing. It was so beautiful. And it still is, but just like the Spanish moss people take for granted, you know?
I feel like when you moved here, like the leaves still change colors in
Oh.
the fall. That's something that's changed here in the last 20 years, for sure. Where like in the fall,
Nothing happens. The differences between upstate New York and specifically Tallahassee, they're still there for me. The Spanish moss is still here. The sunsets, the ocean, the humidity.
but not the fireflies.
Yep. There
So
were,
you were hanging out with your daughter,
and there was in her dad's backyard, there was a giant, like, swarm of fireflies. And I was like, oh my God.
they still exist in parts of town.
Oh
for
my
sure.
God.
Yeah. So you moved to Tallahassee for college,
I did.
and you had a bit of. All right, so I'm gonna go back a little bit though, because you mentioned you've alluded to the fact that maybe your parents weren't together. Because
Yeah.
you would visit your dad. Can you tell me about your mother? Where's Freud at? There you
That's
are.
for, there he is.
Okay, so when did your parents separate? Were they ever married?
Yeah, I was about 6 months old when they separated.
So you don't ever
I
remember
don't
like
ever,
a life
yeah,
of them together.
I don't. And
Okay.
thankfully, they were really friendly as co-parents, and they would do a lot with us together. It was limited how much time it was together,
Well, I
but
think that's healthy too,
especially for them.
I mean,
Yeah.
But in general, like boundaries are important.
yes, boundaries are very important. Yep. But I think, to be honest, I think they did an amazing job with what was presented to them in life.
Were they young parents?
I
was a young parent.
That's right, you did say that. My mother, my sister, and myself.
I still am a young parent.
I still am. My sister is older than I, and she was born in 1984. She was my mother's first child, and I think I was, she must have been 27 or so when she had my sister, and she was 30 when she had me.
Okay.
So not
that's pretty
super young.
typical.
Yeah,
That's
pretty typical.
for
Typical
that
age.
generation.
My
I would say. Like,
father.
my mom, I think, was 25. My parents
Yeah.
were 25.
Yeah. Like a pretty typical age.
Yeah. It was like that may have been a little bit early, but not even really. That was because they like both went to college and had careers pretty early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But my father was quite a bit. He was 25 years older than my mother. So he had a lot more life experience and a lot more happening, and also subsequently passed earlier. But yeah, he was 25 years old. So there was always that difference as well.
Do you think that and times change, right? But
Absolutely.
But as the times have changed, have you like struggled with that age difference at all in your head, or because I think the reason I ask is it's like I had to remind myself that it was 37 years ago, right?
Yes.
Like before I was like, wait a second, 25 years is
I know.
That being said, I think there's a lot that's changed, not just in our like standards, but in the way that we mature as humans.
Absolutely. Yes.
So there's reasons beyond just our morality changing that these standards change.
Absolutely.
I guess is my point.
Absolutely.
But so, I don't know. Can you talk about that a little bit? Or
I think...
Do you want to just delete this whole minute? I don't think that's fun.
No, not at all. It was always, the thing that sticks out in my head was when I was young and we would go places, my father and I together, or with my sister as well. People would ask if it was my grandfather.
So I had to like converse, especially like when my daughter was like a teenager, and she's still a teenager, but she's an adult now. Too.
Yeah.
And now I think this usually said more about the person than it did about us, but there was a couple of times where people would confuse her for my partner instead of my daughter.
Yeah.
And you're saying you had the reverse.
Exactly. It was always the same response from him.
Like
he would always...
Generation removed.
Yes.
Your granddaughter.
It was completely different.
And to be fair, the age difference between
it absolutely
your
was.
dad and you is the same age difference between my mom and, or maybe less, or maybe a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like...
Absolutely,
sure,
it's totally. It was, and the response
the lesson
from
there is don't make assumptions. It
you,
just makes an ass out of you and me.
It was for sure visually. It made sense. It would make sense that I would be his granddaughter. But it was the same response from him. He would always look at me and say, "Oh, do you want to tell them or should I?" And it was always like it would be a joke.
He would give you that choice.
Oh yeah, it was just hilarious between us.
But not only that, he didn't try to say face or
not at all,
or whatever you want to say.
It was jokey between us.
But he also gave you the option, like he would let you make the joke.
Yeah,
I guess is my point.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
So this is a question that I ask a lot of, and it seems like maybe you don't want to talk about your mom, and that's fine.
We can. That's fine.
Okay, but I ask the comedians and other people that have a strong affinity for comedy similarly to, what's the first time you remember really loving a joke? And do you remember what joke it was?
Gosh.
Because it sounds like even though like your parents were loving, like you still had things you had to struggle with growing up, whether it be a sister that you
for sure.
felt like maybe
absolutely.
a little bit like you had to live up to, or like just the fact that you had just, even if it was the best case scenario, it sounds like it probably was, it was still uncommon, different. Like it created these like stigmas maybe at times that you had two households. Like I say this as somebody whose parents got divorced when I was 5.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like...
No, I totally... That's exactly it.
But so even in my situation wasn't necessarily ideal, but I would almost say that the stigma or the... especially on a neurodivergent person, two homes and all that can be harder
Definitely.
for us, I think.
Yep. For me, I think it was the fact that I have always related more to my father.
But you spent, it sounds
But I spent more time with my mother, who I love. And it's just...
You know how I knew that? You told me you visited your father.
Yeah.
That's how I knew.
Yeah. It was during the week. It was time with my mother. It was the week spent there. And then it was every weekend was usually in some way was
Had he pretty
spending.
much retired from playing music
That
professionally
dude
at
was
that point?
done with life. Yes.
So you didn't grow up like going to a bunch of gigs that he played and stuff like that?
I wish.
What's the first concert you remember going to?
The first one ever
That you remember?
that I went to? Gosh. The Beach Boys. It's the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys. Yes. It was very hardcore.
Without Brian Wilson, though?
I don't even remember. This was, okay, so I was,
I'm remembering this a little bit now.
yes, I was,
This is good. We're going to stay on this thread a second.
oh, the Beach Boys. Gosh. I was like 7 or so. And my mother and stepfather were both priests, right? So I grew up in a really sweet, like super wholesome.
You still seem
TD.
wholesome.
Shut up. Fuck you.
I said scene. I said scene.
Yeah. So see, yes,
said
you're
a moment
right.
ago. Don't
You're
make assumptions.
no. That's true. I that's my core. Is yes, that is. So yeah, it was. Yeah, a very, from their perspective, from my mother and stepfather, he was in my life since I was like 8. It was just a really sweet, of course, my first show was the Beach Boys. Yeah.
What do you remember? First of all, I will say you could have gone to other shows before that you don't remember, which is why I'm asking you this in the way that I'm asking you. What do you think it was about that show that makes you remember it? What do you remember about that show? There's not a lot of memories I have from 7 years old. A few of them are concerts, though.
I felt older. I went with my sister, who is 4 years older than I. And
So she was 11.
yeah, I was, yes.
And no adults?
No, my parents were there.
They like stand in the back?
Yeah,
while
you
went up
know.
front, and you
Aw.
pretend
They tried to
you weren't with
pretend.
them. You like pretend. No,
Obviously, you know exactly what happened.
that's because that was me. Like my mom.
That's
and
exactly
shout out to
it.
my mom took me to so many concerts. That,
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think I've ever dragged my mom to a concert that she didn't enjoy.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
But I have had to drag her to several.
Yeah. I understand. I understand.
I think like my mom is usually like, if anything I've ever been able to give back to her, it's that I've dragged her to some good shows.
Hey, good shows are worth it. It's worth it.
I always go to the rock show. Always.
Always.
Your parents are hiding in the back of the Beach Boys. Your sister's trying to pretend like she's cooler than you. And
You see the
doesn't.
whole scene.
No, I do. I'm like, I'm not looking at you because I'm looking into the lights.
You see the whole thing. That's exactly
All right,
what
So your
happened.
parents are hiding in the back.
Yep.
Your sister is. I got my kid's sister with me,
Ugh.
and she's trying to seem cool.
And she has people there
Okay, yeah,
that
makes
are
it even worse.
around her age.
Is there
Exactly.
anybody
Or
your age?
older.
Is there anybody? Did
No!
anybody else bring their kid's sister there?
No. It was, maybe, was it church affiliated? The people who went were.
In the early '90s, the Beach Boys maybe.
I'm just trying to remember.
Churches were getting pretty desperate.
Come on, seriously. I just remember a lot of the people that I associate with church at that time were at that. I don't know. Maybe it was
The
a
first
field
time I
trip.
ever listened to Eminem was at a church camp. So
Shut your mouth. Yes. You went to church camp too?
only one. My church camp isn't far too traumatic to share here. But I'll share a couple of the highlights. I heard Eminem for the first time.
Wow.
And when this is over, I'll tell you like the downside of it all. I went to church camp, and I'll tell the funny part. Here's the funny part. I went to church camp, and it was a horribly traumatic experience
I'm so
for me.
sorry.
And not the way that anyone can imagine.
Perfect. Yep.
It had nothing to do with the camp was fine. The people there were great, at least as much as they could be in with the situation I was in at the time. My mom was a single mom who and I had not talked to my dad in a while, who needed a fucking week. And we made a deal. This was a deal with the devil. Because it was the summer of 1999.
Oh, the summer of 1999.
And I had been secretly watching South Park in my bedroom for 2 years at that point.
Do you know that was banned in my house? Oh,
And in your fucking city.
Oh, South Park was the just the devil. I still remember my mom breaking my Alanis Morissette CD because she said, "Would you go down on
Okay,
you?"
I need to hear this story.
A theater.
Okay, I think we've uncovered something here. So your dad's turning you on to music. Your mom's breaking your
breaking
CDs.
my freaking shit. Yeah. Yeah, Alanis.
Can we talk a little bit more about this, and then I'll go back to the deal with the devil?
Obviously. Yes, totally.
So
Yeah.
did your mom? It doesn't sound like your mom hated music,
No.
but
She's she's a priest. She's very
so your
religious.
mom's still with us.
She's still with us. She
Hasn't retired.
has not
What denomination? If you
Episcopalian.
Episcopal.
Yeah, I think that the way that God, my dad said this to her. I feel like my father right now. My father said to her, "The way you feel about God is the way I feel about music." And I feel the same way.
All right, so I've been waiting for the opportune moment to share this quote with you.
I'm so excited.
This is a quote from Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Frank Zappa is probably my favorite composer of all time. But he was also somebody, and I think this really fits. He's somebody who had an instrumental album with a parental advisory sticker. He was one of the only musicians, if not the only musician, to testify before Congress when Tipper Gore, by the way, was trying to put stickers on albums.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know about you, but that was a selling point by the time we were
Total,
teenagers.
1,000%.
It was like if it had one of those
if it had it, you wanted it.
That's like it tricked
It
so
totally
many kids
backfired.
into listening
Oh,
to
yeah.
Limp Bizkit.
Oh my God. We were all tricked. We all drank the Kool-Aid for Limp Bizkit. All of us.
But it was that sticker, and
was the
honestly, the
sticker's
art on the
fault.
cover was pretty fucking cool.
Listen, we all got fooled. Every
And
one
I've
of
talked
us.
about art on album covers repeatedly. So Frank Zappa said, "Information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth. Truth is not beauty. Beauty is not love. Love is not music. Music is the best."
Sounds like it could have been my father. That's exactly, and it's still my feeling today.
Is it how you feel?
Yes. Though I would put a little bit of a difference in there. I think he felt the same way. He just didn't have the words for it. And I think I do. It is the combination of music is all of that. Music is everything, including divine. There are ways that music comes into your life in divine ways, or people come into your life in divine ways. And you're like, this just happened. And it's related to music. Or a song, or a band or a person who plays a song at the right. For me, it's all like this. And I think for my mother, it's like Jesus with blood. And for my dad, it was music. And for me, it's
2005, Ben Harper put out an album with the Blind Boys of Alabama. And it was called There Will Be a Light. It's a great record. But there's this interview that they went on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. Just look up talk show if you want to see this clip. Ben Harper is like sitting there, spirituality. It's all about, and this is a gospel record they put out together.
Yeah.
This is all about spirituality to me. And this is the guy that wrote Burn One Down. It's all about just getting in touch with my spirituality.
Totally.
And divinity and blah, blah, blah. The Blind Boys of Alabama are sitting there. It's about Jesus. It's about Jesus.
And I think, to be honest, to each his damn own. If you zoom out and you look at the different way and the things people have been through and all of their whatever, to each his. If you find comfort and total peace in using Jesus, great, awesome. If you find it in being really strictly Islamic, great, do it.
How strict?
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Whatever.
So, Jesus is awesome, but Christianity is fucked up. I'm just gonna say that.
Fuck yeah. Yes. I'm such an.
God, please save me from your followers.
Yeah. That's been a big part of me, I think, too, in the past, four or so years, ever since I got divorced. The grappling of how my foundations were set for me. It's not that I had a crazy traumatic experience in childhood. It's just that everything was so set in a box. And then coming out of that box and going, wow.
If you were comfortable in that box, it almost sounds like that as a neurodivergent person that wasn't diagnosed until late in life.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed more of those boxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so if that box was a comfortable box, and maybe I was in boxes, but those boxes weren't comfortable for me. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
But
I found my comfortable box. Oh, man. I was at choir rehearsals and theater rehearsals. It was either choir rehearsal or play practice every night. It was like it was my job.
I don't know why I never got into theater.
Oh my God.
Because it's like
saved me.
I love.
It saved me. Made friends, made people who had
I think
thoughts
I was never
like
at
me.
a school. Like I didn't go to high school. So
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But my middle school didn't have a
Didn't
theater
have, right.
program.
There, and that's
And
another
I was
thing.
supposed to be in a production of like a summer production of South Pacific.
Oh.
And I like checked out of life that summer. You
Fine.
know what I mean?
Some
Well,
summers
that's
are like that.
That's a whole other
Some
story.
summers are like that.
But how? So I want to bring something back for a second, and maybe it's too late to capture this. But the point I wanted to make after bringing up the Ben Harper Blind Boys of Alabama thing is like that album, even though they had very different perspectives, like they got together and created something pretty fucking amazing.
Right.
And you're pretty fucking amazing, Therese.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you.
It sounds like in some ways you got not the best of both worlds all the time. It sounds like maybe your dad was a little bit, I don't want to say uninterested, but uninitiated in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
He was at a point in life where he was like, I mean, probably just didn't have the fucking energy to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And your mom had so much energy that she was putting it maybe into negative places sometimes, but also positive places a lot of the time too. What's like the starkest difference you remember between being at your mom's house or being at your dad's house as a kid?
That's laughable. The biggest, unfortunately, is the freedom that I felt. I felt a lot of freedom. I felt a lot of, I felt, like I could be completely myself with my father. And I felt a lot of restrictions with my mother. Now, granted, I think as a mom, when I look back at it, I think that she had to play a little more of the traditional parental role. I think he played into the fact that he didn't really have to.
Did you feel like you had more of a friendship with your dad?
Yes, 1,000%. He still is my best friend. He was my best friend. On the day he died, he was my best friend. Today, he is my best friend. Yes, it was so much more of
But that's not apparent. I just want to point that out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There were a lot of parental things that he did, but it was much more of he would always call me his little me. Oh, you're like a little me. You're like a little me. And so it was always, that was the precedent.
Do you ever think that maybe sometimes you resent your mother a little bit more than your father because she had to set some of the boundaries and the restrictions for you as a
I
parent?
used to. Yes. Yes, I used to not recognize that. I used to not, but now, no, not really. Because I think as a parent, you do what you can do. And you said, if you're in that situation, I think she filled in a lot of good gaps.
Yeah.
I think she did a good job filling in what she needed
kind
to.
of need an authority to rebel against at a certain
Yes,
point.
that's
too,
right. That's exact. And I think he enjoyed not being in that role.
Anyone would.
Right. And she welcomed being in that. Okay, here I am. I'm mom.
And this is the last psychological question about your childhood I want to get into. But do you think that was something that, how do I put it? If you, do you think that your dad intentionally let your mother, once she stepped up and set those boundaries and...
I think a little bit. I think he settled into the comfort of it, especially in his older age. As he got into his 70s.
How old were you when
See,
he
that's
passed
the
away?
thing. I was 19. He was 78.
Yeah. Yeah, 61.
He was in
59 year
his 60s and 70s when I knew him. You know? Yeah, I do. I think, and I don't think it came from a place of I don't wanna. Like,
No,
fuck
it's
you.
like it's being taken care of.
Yes.
No, I get that.
I think my mother was the mother to all three of us.
You're both your
And
family.
my father, yeah. Love him to death, forever and ever. But I think she played a big, I am the real adult in this situation.
Okay, so let's go into what makes a person artistic in the way. Do you think that your mother is like an artist in the way that your father was?
No, not at all. No.
Do you think an artist needs someone to rein them in sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
Especially someone who, it's a spectrum, right? Like,
That's it. It's a
you
spectrum.
get somebody who like Dave. Let's put Dave Grohl out there.
Yeah.
Right? Who's a really good businessman.
Yeah.
Really good like business manager.
Yep.
But also an incredible songwriter and musician.
Absolutely.
And like maybe he wasn't always that way, but he like figured it out. And at a certain point, he was able to like take care of all of it. And even if it was just like putting the right people in the right place with the money he had.
Yep.
And that's a privilege. But there's people like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Just to keep it in the same fucking realm for a second, who was completely, may have written some of the greatest songs of a generation or whatever. But the point I'm making is that, was your dad that kind of, like, maybe not like a heroin addict, but was your dad that kind of artist that like needed someone? Or do you think until your mom came along, he had it pretty good, and then like your mom just made shit a little bit different? Or do you
especially for him, the way that he grew up, and everybody has their like particular cocktail of trauma from their own.
Well, and we created ourselves
Sure,
sometimes too.
absolutely.
Right? Like if there isn't,
absolutely,
it's like an autoimmune disorder. If you're not sick.
Totally, so true. I think with his particular like cocktail of trauma and age, and the fact that he is a musician through and through. He lived, breathed, everything was music. He would listen to music or be writing music or be playing the clarinet.
Music is the best.
That's it. It was always music. And so
it was how he connected with divinity.
with the world and divinity, everything. Yeah. He would say to my mother, the exact way you feel about God is how I feel about music. And I can remember my mom relaying that story. I can remember him.
Do you think your mom ever got it? Not in the sense that like she understood what he was saying, but do you ever think she ever even got a glimpse of that feeling? Because I'll tell you this, the only way that I've ever been able to connect with divinity is through music. The only way. And I'm not a religious person.
I understand. Really understand.
And I wouldn't even say
very
that,
much
like,
so. Do I
it's
understand?
religious music that makes me feel like I'm connecting with the divine.
I think for her, it is that case. I think, like,
I'm also not a musician. But I think that's important.
Sure.
Like, I'm saying this as just somebody who loves music.
Yeah. For her, I think everything, again, everybody's little particular cocktail of trauma, her path for understanding and like feeling the divine and feeling light and being able to meditate and all that kind of, her path was Christianity, was Catholicism and repenting and but also the music. I can remember driving in the car and it was always, what's his name? John Michael Talbot is a Christian. Okay. Yeah, that was that back in the day. Yeah, that was my soundtrack in my mother's car for childhood. It was just John Michael Talbot, some John Denver, but like John Michael Talbot. Oh my God, just. Oh.
So when you went to see the Beach Boys, and I'm gonna start pushing things forward again, because we've spent a lot of time on a really interesting period, but I do want to like bring us up to speed too. What was that was edgy.
That was edgy. I felt edgy. I'll tell you
Well,
that.
said you felt older,
I
right?
felt edgy.
You were the only one there.
I was
that
the only one
like
there
your
in my age group.
and
Yeah. And I could remember being,
was your sister inclusive, or did she try and keep you like
she was pretty inclusive. But
for an
also
11-year-old trying to
yeah,
sit with
totally. But
friends?
also because my mother and stepfather were there. So
Like,
she
couldn't
had
get
it.
away with too much.
Yeah. That was like the big kid concert. That was like me feeling like a big kid. Finally.
Do you remember anything about it?
For me, I think it was the whole experience overall because I had never been in that setting before, ever. I had never been in a crowd of people that were
Was it
all
an
really
arena?
excited. Yes, but I was outdoors. So there must have been two parts.
Like maybe in the amphitheater
Yeah.
or
And
stadium
I
or
remember being
something?
outdoors for sure. I remember it was SPAC, Saratoga Performing Arts Center,
Okay.
up in upstate New York. Oh God. Yeah, the Beach Boys. And I thought it was so badass too. It felt so badass. And it was the Beach Boys.
Do you think like all right, so I'm gonna go back to a thread that I was on earlier. So sometimes when you perform, it's more like you're putting on a show.
Yeah.
And you're doing almost like you're putting on your own musical and you're in that mindset, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's other times where you're putting on a show and you're just playing your songs like
It's
a
me.
show.
Yeah.
And it's you. And you talked about the difference already between being an audience member in a musical and being on stage in a musical. What was the difference for you? I know that you didn't start performing as yourself until pretty recently, relatively speaking, at least.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the difference for you between being an audience member at a concert and being the person that performs the concert, and not as a persona, but as you?
I think as me performing, it's such a different experience for me. I have to connect with my audience. I have to speak a little bit. I have to sing some things that
How much of that is like prepared though? The speaking, is that
none of it.
totally improvised?
Yeah,
Okay.
none of it. Unless I'm reading the name of the title of the song. But no, none of it's
You don't have like prepared stories about songs, or
No,
maybe a
no,
couple times,
I don't. Not really. No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Things just pop up, and I like it that way. I like the fact that it's
Have you ever done improv? Like, I know you've done a lot of theater.
a little, but like in practice, in
Like
theater
getting ready.
rehearsal. You know what I mean?
Right. You've never,
Trying to do
You've
it.
never been like part of an improv troupe.
No,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
no.
So, what do you think is like the key difference for you in getting into the mindset for a role and getting into a mindset for a show of your own music and being very
Oh my
personal?
gosh, so
Is
different.
it different?
For a role, has very, especially in the beginning, it has very little to do with me. It's the character, and I have to read up on and what they like and what they do and why they're singing this song and what's their relationship with them and blah blah. Then it becomes me. Then I'm like, I feel like I'm the character. But for when it's my show and it's either my songs and covers on a theme, something, then that is me. That's me expressing all of what I need to in that moment. Yeah.
This is something I remember pretty well, so I'm gonna set you up and let you just tell the story the best of your ability again.
Set me.
So you moved to Tallahassee to go to college, and you've alluded to the fact that you're now divorced. You never talked about getting married.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, your divorce and everything was a big catalyst for you writing your own music.
Yes, big time.
If you could just maybe first tell me a little bit about your experience moving to Tallahassee for school, not so much the culture stuff, 'cause we talked about that. And then just I don't want you to flash through 20 years or 15 years in 5 minutes, but tell me what you think is important, and then we'll dissect that, if you will.
So out of high school, I was accepted to NYU, and it was awesome. It was just so expensive, so freaking expensive. And I made the decision to move with the rest of my family to Florida, and it became a school decision because I knew I wanted to switch to another music school, and FSU seemed pretty outstanding. So I went to that music school, and in the school, in the jazz section, they have you audition for combos, and they'll take a certain number of people, a group of people that they feel like would work well together in a combo. And I was chosen for a combo with this lovely, handsome human being that ended up becoming my husband and Mira's dad. And it solidified the fact that I wanted to stay in Tallahassee because I wanted to build my life here. I had moved a little bit in New York, and then I made the big move to Florida. I just didn't want to move anymore. So when I met Mira's dad, I made the decision that I was really going to build my life here. And we both decided to stay here and then got married in the Keys. And we're still really close. We're still really good friends and work well together. But I think the big thing that kept us here was each other. We wanted to be together and create a life together in this place. Another thing too was I realized that there was such a need in Tallahassee for community music not affiliated with the university or any university here. So I think having him start the studio and then he does the same job that I do, it just was really conducive to us staying here. So we ended up staying in Tallahassee. And even through divorce, we both stayed here. We're still really close and navigating all of that.
So when you first connected, it was like purely over
It
music.
was completely musical. We met in a practice room after.
Which goes back to what I was like. Music is your love language.
Yes, it is. It is. When I couldn't find the right words myself, it was always music that did the job. Always. Yep.
So you stayed here. You had a kid.
I did. Out of my body. She came out of my body.
That's trippy as fuck.
I know.
And then COVID happens.
Whew.
Almost immediately. Right? Like, how old was your daughter in March of 2020?
2.
Yeah. So she doesn't even remember.
She remembers
like,
a tiny little mask.
It's almost like people a little younger than us, they don't remember a time before 9/11.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that was weird.
You're in middle school.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do you like everybody does, where were you on
I was
9/11?
in the music room. I was in the music room in upstate New York, and they made an announcement to the school.
Did they turn on the television in time for you to see the second plane?
No, not at all. My God.
I think a lot of schools made that mistake.
Oh my God. Seriously.
I wasn't at school that day.
Oh, you weren't?
I wasn't. Like I said, I didn't go to high school.
Yeah.
And I think not sure if I went back after 9/11.
Yeah, that was a time.
So she doesn't even remember it. So how old was she before she got to start to live life a normal human that was cognizant of being out in the world, you know what I mean?
When she went to pre-K, I will never forget this. When she went to pre-K, she went with a mask on. And it was her first experience out of school.
What was she protesting?
Seriously. It was it was so, what a strange time that was. And they weren't even sure that they were going to let the kids go. It was so weird.
Yeah,
it was
my daughter was in middle school. And yeah,
it was just very strange time. Yeah.
So a lot of divorce lawyers were super busy during COVID. Do you think that like COVID
1,000%, of course.
But do you think it... So I think there's two ways mainly that I've seen it really impact relationships. And one was it like exposed that the relationship was flawed. And like once the two people were forced to spend a bunch of time together, they were like, this sucks. And then there was just like people who like learned more about themselves, and then maybe that wasn't entirely compatible
Totally.
with the person.
Yeah.
Was it more the latter for you, it sounds like? Or both, maybe?
I do think it was both.
I think it's always a little bit
yeah.
of both.
For us, it was very mental health related. The both of us needed to make sure that we were happy, stable human beings by ourselves. And that was never going to happen together. I see that now. We needed to have a time for us to fix ourselves. Both of us, equally. Yeah.
How much do you think songwriting had to do with healing yourself?
So much. I fell a little in love in between my divorce and now. And to be honest, right now I consider us really reconciling currently. We are so good right now, and I love it. I love the place that we're at. Between divorce and now, I fell in love, and grappling with that and the way that all happened, and then the way that it didn't happen. It's different after you've been married, after that security or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And so that's
a charitable term.
it's different. It's different, and it hit me different. It hit me. I was in a really vulnerable state anyway, and I really should not have been allowing myself to have my heart open.
For sure.
But
you did.
But I did, and it's what happened. And oh my God, it sparked so many great songs. I have some good songs because of that. And that's my first songwriting, was after feeling that love and then that subsequent heartbreak or whatever. But it had to be post divorce.
Let me ask, are you now converted to where, because let me tell you, like, I think that there's like comedians and songwriters that will say yes to experiences they might not say yes to, just because maybe I'll get 10 minutes of material out of it. Maybe I'll get a few songs out of it.
There's no way I would do that.
Maybe not consciously.
No way. But there's no way I would no.
I don't even necessarily mean like a romantic experience.
Yeah.
But just like a life experience. Like maybe just like meeting a sketchy group of people.
Totally. That was my NYU experience. I was 18 and I was accepted to NYU. I went to their music department, their vocal department. And I was an 18-year-old. I think about this now with Mira, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. I was an 18-year-old loose in New York City, living in the West Village. What business did I have living in the West?
In like mid 2000s.
Hi.
Like 2005.
What business did I have doing that? None. It was 2008. 2008. Yes. And it was awesome. But one of the experiences I had, I waited overnight and outside of a venue to get the first 20 tickets were free or something for a private Fiona Apple concert. And I met the coolest people ever. It was cool as hell. Some really great, like, great gothic people, some really punky, like, gothic people. And I'm Therese, the priest's kid from... Oh, God, I had fun. I stayed up all night. Oh, it was great. It was so much fun. Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but I waited in the line. I got a tip from a girl who lived on our floor, and she was a promoter. And so she knew who would be like the famous people in the area at the clubs at certain times. So she would tell the people on our floor. I met John Mayer outside of this one club, and it was just because she knew somehow. That was like her job to know. So she knew that was going to happen. And she was like, listen, if you want, go now and wait outside this club, blah, blah, blah. And if you're one of the first, I think it was 25 people, you get in for free. And I was one of the first, and it was the most amazing concert. Oh my God.
Remember the capacity of the room?
It was less than 100.
That's wild.
Oh, it was amazing. It was like a fancy little bar not too fancy, but
So
a,
this
but a
would
not
have been like
fancy
right
little
after
bar.
Extraordinary Machine.
Yes!
Okay.
She's playing.
That
Oh!
was the album that I fell in love with Fiona Apple on. And
It
I've
can
gone back. Like,
amazing.
her first 2 records are great.
Yeah.
But really, to me, like that and the 2 or 3 since that.
Yeah.
Like Tidal and the Idler Wheel, etc.
Etc. Etc. Etc.
Like those 3 records.
Yeah.
Oh, Tidal's really good. Extraordinary Machine, the Idler Wheel, and then she just put one out in 2020.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm not gonna remember the name of it though. That was so memorable. Even the show she put on, she had that straight hair. She was just.
She can be hit or miss though. Like
Yeah?
she doesn't like to perform.
God, it was amazing. It was incredible.
But she's somebody that got really hurt by the industry and all.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah. So, what was your first song about? Yeah, we're time traveling a little bit, but that's okay.
That's okay. Trying to think. First song it's a song called Dessert. And a friend of mine, much older than I, a student of mine, gave me the best advice. She gave me the bit. She was like, she knew the person that we had fallen for each other. She knew him. And she knew the situation that we were in. He was not completely out of the relationship that he was still in.
I mean, it's a shock that it didn't work out.
Shocking, right? Absolutely shocking. This is the scandal of the century, let me tell you. And so she said a line to me in a lesson that I was like, you are a genius and I'm going to write a song about that because I know it's going to be therapeutic. She said, you can't live on dessert alone. She's like, Therese, I know how good this feels. I see you when you're together. I see the chemistry. I see it all. But you can't live on dessert alone. You have to see how, and I was like, whoa. So I wrote this. She said, you can't live on dessert alone. I'm really grateful that through the experiences, and especially through pain, through heartache, where you could feel it, that I had music, that I could write down words, how I felt, how the situation, whatever, how I think they felt, and then create it and formulate and cross things out and move things here. And that is so therapeutic to
So
me.
now that you're in a better place, like how do you approach songwriting?
I haven't.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't it uh-oh? But maybe.
Well,
here's my question is, if you go long enough without writing songs, are you going to lose touch with the thing that's making you okay?
It's a great question. I was just prompted to do another songwriters night where I need to have a few more songs. And I thought I was like, all of the songs that I've written have been during a time of great change. A lot of change.
And but not only that, I want to stop you for a second. You've told me today that they were part of that change.
Absolutely. Fundamental part.
Do you think that continuing to write songs is a fundamental part of trying to be who you are from now on?
Yes.
And who you
from now on, yeah. Absolutely. Now it's an avenue.
That's what I've been getting at. Not as the life experience.
No, now it's an avenue.
Now writing songs is like that's something that's uncompromising.
Yep. Now it's and it's mine. Whenever I want to do it, however, and whenever I feel like it. Like I don't need to write a song in a year if I don't want to.
No.
But if it's bubbling, and
have all your songs come like that, or have you ever sat down and been like, I'm writing a song about X?
Never. It was always, I need to get this out. Let me get this out of my body so I have somewhere else to put it.
Has it ever been the opposite where you were like, you had your antenna up and something maybe not happened to you, but you observed something and you were like, I have to write about this? Because I've heard that analogy a lot.
Yeah,
too,
Lake
right?
Ella. Yes, I was at Lake Ella once, and I knew I wanted to write something as like an ode to my time, all the different experiences that I've had in that area, my
I grew
time
up
there.
going
There
still
you
go
go,
there.
feeding the
Yeah.
ducks.
I've been
And
going there. I went to that church that's
oh,
on Lake Ella. I grew up going to
yeah.
that church.
That
That scout house there was my scout
Yeah.
house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
wrote, that's probably the only song I have, I believe, that was written that way. I knew I wanted to do like an ode to Lake Ella, and so that was my mindset. But everything else was, I need this out of my body. Get this feeling out, or let's talk about this, or
And before I start to ask you about things that you have coming up or what you've got going on right now, just to follow up on that, have you ever written a song like from a point of view that wasn't yours as a character? Because as someone who loved musicals so much and it's such a foundational part, have you ever thought about that? Just maybe that's an avenue that you have to force a little
great
bit more.
idea.
It's not going to bubble out of you, but I think the creative force, like once it's unleashed,
It's a great idea.
it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
It started as more therapy for me, but
But-
now, I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah.
now you're like, I just signed up for the songwriters in the
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
To tell a story
Yeah.
about the first time I ever signed up for stand-up comedy,
Yeah.
I had probably a couple of things that I'd said in the past that I turned into jokes that I put
Yeah.
in that set. But I didn't have any, this is a joke I would tell on stage if I ever did. I literally signed up. I'm like, I'm going on in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I've got 5 minutes.
Yep.
I've got to write 5 minutes of material.
Yep.
And in a way, it like forced me
Yes.
to do it.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, did you sign up for that because you felt the need to write more songs but didn't necessarily know where they were going to come from?
The very first songwriter, I've done 2 of them. The first one I did, I needed more songs. I got an email that said 8 to 10 pieces, and I had 5. And I was like, shit, I need to write more pieces. So it came out of necessity the first time. Second time around, I used a lot of the ones from before, but I wrote a few new ones. And they were just inspired. They were not, it wasn't, I want to write about this or this. But then this next round I think I want to do more that art was inspired by like Ella. I felt really open to the area and memories started flooding back. I think it's definitely worth exploring now.
Yeah.
Putting myself in a different perspective or a different time frame even. Yeah.
So let's shift to what you've got coming up. First of all, how long is your waiting list to sign up for music classes? And that's actually, do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Why did you end up focusing, what to you is so important about music education above that to where you wanted to devote your life to it?
Couple things. I am not the type of person who can work daily in something that I don't love.
Me neither.
I would probably not be on the planet if that were the case. If I had a desk job, I just can't do it. It's not in me.
I tried
It's not
for
in
a long
me.
time because I felt like I had to.
Same.
And I was just met with repeated failure.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't. So, through being really poor and very underfunded as a human being, I started.
Would you say that you're overeducated and underemployed? I'm just curious. Not everybody I've talked to is.
Not now. I wouldn't.
How long is your waiting list?
I have 13 people on the list right now. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna, like literally tomorrow, I think it's gonna be less, but that's fine. Yeah, no, I have 13 people and I'm freaking proud to say it. It's been 16 years now of teaching lessons privately, one person at a time, and then word of mouth. And I know I'm good at it. I know that it is my, like, we're talking about divine stuff. Like, this is my gift to explain vocal stuff in a relatable way and to head things to personally, one-on-one, but also in a choir setting, to be able to relay information in a positive, relatable manner.
So first of all, like as somebody who has received some of your instructions and education, I completely agree that you are fabulous at what you do.
Thank you.
or I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now. That being said, I am very curious, like, where you draw the line with a student where you think, okay, I can't help them any more than I already have. When you have a waiting list of 13, I imagine you approach it a little bit like a doctor or a lawyer where it's if you're not holding up your end of the bargain, maybe I'm not the teacher for you. And
It's
I'm putting it
usually
really loosely, but
luckily it's been very organic up until now, where knock on all the wood around. People naturally will either fade out, or their money will fade out, or they'll move, or it happens, but it
she's not cheap,
happens.
folks.
Their money runs out.
I need them
I
dry.
need them. It. Thank God, though. Has happened in a pretty organic timing way, and I figured it out. Like by last year, I figured it out. You make a new schedule at the start of the summer, then you make another new schedule at the start of the school, and I'm just all these little things you
Everybody's
figure
schedule
out.
changes.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. So overall, I am going to keep you. If you are showing effort, if you still want it,
I guess at a certain point, like if they don't want it, they're not going to pay
that's
for
right.
it.
If they,
Yeah.
and it usually will happen that, what it happens in so many ways. People will text me and say, I love you so much. I just can't afford it right now. Or I've loved what I've learned and I'm moving, or
Right.
so many different things. So my job is to never take offense. First of all, to hope that I've given them a good, solid singing foundation, a music foundation, and to keep moving forward.
Have any like really long running students that you want to like give a shout out to?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have 3 that are still with me. One, her name is Ellie Hall. I have been with her for just so many years. It was almost since I first moved here. And then my first ever students are still with me. The younger one took a break at one point, and they'll take summers off sometimes, but they are still with me. Maida and Viva, they're a sister pair. And what voices. Just raw, gorgeous voices. Beautiful human beings too.
Just to take a 10,000-foot view of all this for a second, what do you think is the importance of arts education, not just music education, in a more public setting where it's not, you've been fortunate enough to be able to teach students who really want to focus on it. What about the students that like don't know they need arts education? What about the parents of students who don't know they need art education? What do you view as the value of music and art education to being like a holistic human being?
Oh my God, massive.
What do you see when the young students that you teach?
Oh, it's the best.
In terms of development and like, things that they realize.
It reminds me of myself. It's that ability to have freedom, to have choices, to have creative outlet, to hear a song being played by you or being sung by you that you've heard on, I was going to say the radio, but nobody listens to the radio anymore, that you've heard on Spotify for so long. And it's them recognizing that they can make those sounds too. It can come out of you too. It feels amazing.
I watched a TED Talk this week.
Yeah?
And one of the things that it was all about how to justify being a creative person when the world is on fire. Mm-hmm. And one thing that she said that has stuck with me probably eternally from now on is that when you're the creator of something, you're the god of your own universe. And it sounds like instilling the ability for people to be the gods of their own universe.
Hell,
like
yes.
That's your goal.
Hell, yes. With 14 periods after that. Hell, yes. With good technique, too. Hell, yes.
So you're also a choir director.
Yes.
Can you talk about your approach to a community choir that's a little bit different from the traditional community choir? 'Cause I think a lot of community bands, community theater, community choirs try to find a spot for every voice.
Yep.
And that's great. That's got its place. That's not necessarily what you're up to.
Yeah.
So can you talk about maybe
Totally.
the difference there for a second?
My idea behind this group was for it to, yes, be accessible to the community, for it not to be related or affiliated with any university, because that's a big thing in this city. There's a lot of great university music that can be made. But if you're not affiliated with it, it's hard to find like quality group.
And there's a lot of people in the community that aren't affiliated with the university at all. So those people
Right.
just need to be found.
That's the thing. And I felt like there's that sort of niche that needs to be filled here in Tallahassee where there are good musicians. I have some amazing musicians in that group of people.
No, I'm out of my league. 100%.
No, stop.
No, and I know you're nice and you're being kind, and I don't even necessarily mean in terms of my voice, although I think that's up for debate too. But I am the least versed musician in that room by far.
Isn't it cool to... I think that is freaking awesome. That's what I want. That's my dream. That I want people of very different musical backgrounds. As long as they have a solid voice, we can make any kind of amazing group with you. Like anything can happen. Also, because there are different reading abilities, there are different sustaining abilities. There's
literally, like physically. We have a couple of blind members in our
yes.
family. Last week, when you said something about we're going to try it without sight reading, I'm like, I was going to remind everybody that there's a couple of people that never. So step it up.
Step that shit up. Totally, dude. Totally. And it's crazy, too, how amazing of a musician she is. Oh, my God. It's so cool.
God, I could talk to you all night, but...
The next thing that I have coming up is in September is the Jazz Time Machine. That's the biggest one.
You beat me to it.
That's coming up in September. And then actually the three of the students in my studio are putting on a triple bill. So it'll be the three of them, 45 minutes each at the Blue Tavern. That's the thing after that. I think I'll be a part of that. I'll be accompanying and I'll be there, of course. And then eventually there'll be that songwriters. I forget when that even is, but here I am doing.
Well, any last words?
No, just this is so fun. I could do this for hours as well. This is very fun. You make this very easy.
Maybe we should just start a podcast.
Just hours of us going, and then in music, and then in my life.